I don't think I need to explain how important it is to have a stable income in a time like 2023. Prices are going up on everything, and you're gonna need money to afford things like clothes and rent or whatever overpriced subscription you probably forgot you even paying, since every company has one now. Your pockets gotta be, pretty swollen nowadays just to get around, so it's pretty bad out here. And that's why we have things like video games and this whole community where people can come to escape all these problems of the real world, and where I come to fulfill my urge to talk shit about pixels on the screen. We're all fucked up in our own way. But even though, video games are a scapegoat for a lot of people out there, including myself, while you're out there, traveling through Bethesda, solar systems, or being a superhero in Manhattan, people tend to forget that these same games are the whole livelihoods of real talented people. Just like, how we all have our own ways of, making a living and whatnot. It can be easy to forget that an entire studio of people are required to make just one game, since, we're so spoiled with the amount of good games that we get on a regular basis, even Redfall. Despite that game feeling like it voids all aspects of human input, somebody somehow made that. So right now, if you've been keeping an eye on the gaming industry, you'll know that behind the scenes of all these cool games releasing, it is as ugly as it can be right now. Big gaming companies left and right are laying off thousands of gaming developers at a time, and the overall climate of working in the gaming industry is collapsing as a whole. It's honestly sad to see, but even though it might not directly affect most people watching this video, including myself, it's important to understand why this is happening and what the future of this means for gaming going forward. So I want to maybe explain that to anyone that doesn't already know, and leave you with a better understanding as to why it's the worst time to be a video game developer. So before we get started, I just want to let you all know that we're going to talk about the economy and shit, but please know that I'm nothing close to an economist or anything close to that, I haven't even used the word economy this much since 2018 in the 8th grade. But still, it's important to briefly understand the overall situation, since the main reason for all of this happening can be summed up as market correction spawned from the year of 2020. You see, that same year that everyone had to stay in the house and went crazy for buying toilet paper for some reason that nobody still explained to me, a lot of people were also playing video games, which exploded the overall gaming market. People were pouring so much of their stimulus money into video games that naturally, most gaming companies responded by creating thousands of jobs and hiring a lot of people to create and improve more games. Not only did they go on a big, hiring spree, but they also invested big into the market, thinking that video games could be an easily, fastly returning investment. I mean, Google tried it, but then their studio soon got buried next to Google+, if you remember that app. And ultimately, since the market is starting to quote-unquote return to normal, or at least people now have less money to put down on $70 games, now the companies don't need all these jobs that they created, and it's resulted in one of the worst years in history to be working in the gaming industry. Now, obviously, these aren't the only factors that, has to do with the current layoffs. Some companies are just dumb as shit financially. I mean, you just can't help that. But the after effects of COVID and non-gaming companies investing into the market is arguably the biggest reason for the loss of jobs right now. So, what does this mean for the future of gaming, and, how would it affect a person like me and you who are just, pretty much spectators? Well, people more educated than me on the situation are online predicting a big market crash in gaming in the later years coming if, this pattern continues to grow of a loss of jobs. Now, I personally don't think that's going to happen, since even at its worst, people are still going to pay and play video games. I mean, some people just have extra cash to burn on microtransactions that are the price of whole games. That's basically what gaming is in 2023. So to say that people are just going to stop playing video games is a little absurd, but one very likely thing that's going to continue to happen is the formation of more unions within the gaming industry to protect their jobs. Unions are large groups of workers in various companies that, make unanimous decisions like going on strike in order to get the working conditions that they desire. There's already multiple gaming unions out there, and if you all remember, we're in the midst of a union strike right now with SAG-AFTRA striking for video game voice actors to get better pay and better working conditions. So we will likely see a lot more of that, and if we do, it could result in less games being made depending on how long these strikes, take place. Because if less people are working on creating games, then in turn we'll see less of them being released. That is, unless the companies don't just turn to using AI to replace everybody. That's like their wet dream right now. So in short, the layoffs we're seeing is a result of bad judgment on most gaming companies, back in 2020. And these decisions are having drastic effects behind the scenes right now, but it'll be even more drastic for everyone in the gaming community if this continues to happen. So what do you guys think about, all of this going on with the layoffs and whatnot? Feel free to comment down below. And as always, if you like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you on the next one.